back to Maypole Farm, and in front of me you can see a little bit of the footage from the multiplayer that I was talking about. So we've got Eagle and Mark have finished clearing the forest area. Unexpected Bill was involved in this as well, and between the three of them they have just deforested this. Poor Greta will be fuming at you guys, but yeah, you did a much quicker job than I expected getting this done. So yeah, I think the server was only up for like 3 or 4 hours, and that was it. So this area is cleared. The plan probably is to sell this piece of land off now, so that the intent always was that we would clear it, sell it back to the original landowner, so that they can extend their field. They just wanted the forest cleared off, and you know, as a bonus for that, we got a whole load of money from selling it. It's a really nice teamwork. That's why I recorded this. It was really cool the way Mark and Eagles were working together to stack the logs, and using the mulcher and the tractor to help push the logs into the log forks. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool. It was really good to see them working together. So the start of DS Agri, and this being a somewhat multiplayer game. So this video is going to be a bit different actually, because I'm recording this in 2 halves, maybe 3 halves. You have 3 halves. So all the kit's back at the farm. I'm in DS Agri at the moment, and you can see the guys. So there was some cost for leasing kit and stuff, but they made 60 grand selling the wood. I'm considering these 2 farms as one farm. So the minus 400 odd in there was for the the starting money that the farm had when I created it. So I got rid of all that. We're going to return all the leased forestry kit because we don't need that anymore. And yeah, so at the moment, or previously, those 2 tractors and all that kit were on DS Agri. I moved them back across, and we're going to get the cows sorted. So I'm going to tidy the yard up, skip ahead to April, and get all the animals sorted. But we don't actually really need to do anything on our farm until May at this point. So as I said, it's going to be a bit of a video of 2 halves. I'm going to do a bit of yard work, and it's then going to swap to real me rather than future me. And we've got, between the 2 farms, we've got about 100 grand. We are about the point where we need to pay for the Deutz. It's got an hour and a half left on its lease agreement before it starts to get more expensive. So we do need to pay for that soon. I think it's about a £17,000 final payment. The Fiat is up at 50 hours. So that's getting a bit long in the tooth. My plan, sorry patrons, is to mostly donate that to the contracting business, because it's getting expensive to run. I repaired it in the last video and it needs repairing already again. So yep, there is that. Yep, so we're in April now, and going to return the feed wagon as the grass is growing again, so we can go back to 0 grazing. And I have made the change so that with 0 grazing, the grass covers roughage, moisture food and power food, and we feed silage, as I've spoken about a couple of times. So we're going to hook the mowers up, hook the loading wagon up, and get some feeding done. But yeah, so this tractor we obviously need to pay for. The Fiat 180 is at the point where it's getting expensive to run for me. So in a bit we're going to go head to the store and maybe buy some stuff, probably get a bunch of stuff on lease to own, and think about what we need to get set up for the contracting farm. My plan is to trade kit between the 2. That I'm considering them as one entity. It's just having a separate one for the multiplayer folks to join is easier. So yep. So probably what I'll do is I'll transfer all the money to one farm. get all the kit sorted, and then because there's not a lot for me to do in April, and there are quite a lot of contracts in April. There's a bunch of seeding contracts, and there's a bunch of weeding contracts. So the multiplayer is only available for the patrons. So if you're interested in that, there is a link below. Potentially will be opened up to YouTube channel members as well in the coming weeks, but it's not a public multiplayer. And the words that I'm trying to get to are, my plan is that I'm going to pause recording this video for a bit once I've released the kit, stick this game up for the patrons to get at some of the contracts, and then probably come back in May and finish off. Yeah, so that does depend on how long it takes me to get all the kit sorted, and how that works out. The reason I want to swap is that I find it quite difficult to talk over pre-recorded footage of me buying stuff in the shop. So I figured I'd do that actually talking as I do it, because it's easier, and then probably that's the point where this will have become, because I'm recording this in the past, this will have become a multiplayer game for a bit. The patrons will have done contracts maybe, or whatever, and probably I'll come back towards the end of April. I'll maybe do some of the contracting as well, so we might show a bit of that, and then, you know, getting into May. And what we need to do in May is, first priority is mowing the 3 fields that have got cover crops in, that need crops planting in them, getting those mowed, getting grass ploughed in, getting those crops planted. That's going to be number 1 priority. I may end up cutting some of those at the end of April, taking a hit on the yield, and trying to get ahead on that. I haven't decided yet. That may be what the rest of this video is. It may be us starting to work on prepping those 3 fields. I just feel that there's not a huge amount to do in April. We could do that, but I haven't decided really. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it like this. So yeah, got the forage wagon full. Actually, because we're using the slightly modified feeding and milk production and stuff that was done by Nightcloak, I have a video on that if you're curious as to how it's different from base Maize Plus. The cows don't eat the insane amount that they did because they produce a bit less milk. So the feeding is not as bad as with full Maize Plus animal food additions. So probably we just need to put a load of grass in the far cow shed and bale of silage in the near cow shed is what I'm thinking. It took me a little bit to rack my brain around this morning. I was playing quite early and the monster hadn't soaked in. So yeah, there's a bit of opening and closing of the menu, I'm afraid. So yeah, cowshed 1, which is the one nearest to us at the moment, needs silage, and cowshed 2 needs everything else. So this is going to go to cowshed 2, which is the far one. Come on. Cowshed 2. Yeah, go. Go. As we get into the year, we'll probably be having to feed more. I'm wondering, keeping the next set of calves as well, assuming we've got space, to just grow the breeding, the milking herd a little bit. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. I'll at least keep them for a bit to get some value on them before we do sell them. I've been pondering. We're just unwrapping the grass silage bale, adding in the enhanced animal system on here without death, because I did talk about it in the last video, mainly to get the visual of the calves for this. Might have to do some tweaking of it because I don't want it to break things, but I think it'd look really cool to have calves in pens. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. I really feel I should have a more in-depth look at that mod, but I'm also kind of wanting to wait for Terra Life before I do. So if you want me to have a look at that, then stick a message below if you want me to, if you want me to have a dive into how the enhanced animal system works now with Maze Plus, where it's got new animals. There are some that you need to add extra data in for. There's a post about that on the Maze Plus Discord or my Discord, so you can go there. But now we're going to hand over to future current me to go through getting some new kit for our farm and for the contracting farm. So yeah, real time me here now. As I was saying, the fence I repaired in the last video, and it now needs another £2,500 spent on it repairing it. So I think for the majority of jobs, this tractor is going to be going up to the contracting farm now. Obviously it's going to be useful. It's got a front loader on it, and like bales and stuff, having a front loader tractor will be useful. The Deutz, so it's currently sitting on 18.6 hours, and we would need to pay 15.5 grand now. I'm kind of tempted to hang on to it until we hit 19 and a bit, and try and time that payment really well. So I think the first thing we're going to do is say kind of, well, not quite goodbye, but the Fen is going to head up to the S Agri, and it's not goodbye, it's maybe farewell, I don't know. And kind of weird seeing that drive off. Anywho, let's get into the store, because there is in the sales the Fendt Favorite. I'm going to go for the 8.1, the 822. I just need to double check something. So I had checked the 818, but not the 822, as to whether it was the right year. It's 93, which is just on the limit, but is going to be fine. The downside is there is no, we are going to want a front PTO. We're going to need to move some money about. There's no front loader on this, so we are down to the little Ursus. So if we go, we're going to quickly switch farms across to the contracting farm. And then we are going to send a bunch of cash over. And we can now buy that tractor. This is a tractor that's going to bounce between the two. Maybe I might let you have the keys to it. I actually want to go for a classic nature green. Just looks a little bit older. We're going to get a front PTO, so that's going to cost us 57 grand. Need to switch back to. I'm really happy to get used to the fact that this is a multiplayer game, and not open it as a single player for a start, which I have done at least once so far. So Fent 212. I think we're going to go for the BTKs. Look pretty nice, actually. Some nice chunky tires. This is going to be our main kind of field working tractor. 225 horsepower is going to open up a lot of extra kit to us. I think in the future we could chip it up to 265. We can't afford that at the moment. I'm not going to spend that money at the moment, but in the future we could do that. Really open up the power range. So yeah, we're going to hit the button on that one. Anything else that we want to? Standard mirrors, wide angle mirrors. I think we'll go for standard mirrors. Should do a number plate. What options have we got for number plate types? Not sure if this will work. Not sure how many letters I'm going to use up. We better advertise the business. Perfect. There we go. Have that on the back only. Look at that. Pull the trigger, £59,000. So that's our first new piece of kit. Let's jump in, have a little look, see. Look at that. It feels very modern. It feels very modern compared to what we've had before. And it's a big old beastie. That is going to be a very nice addition to our fleet. Let's get it parked up for now. This is going to allow us to upsize some of our kit, and yeah, that's kind of cool. Maybe we could get some butterfly mowers now. Would be good. As I think that rear mower is leased. Let me have a look. Yeah, so the mower is leased, so we could get a set of butterfly mowers maybe before we, or lease some butterfly mowers before we get into grass working season. And then what I figured is that as a minimum, because I want to keep this guy down at the yard for doing, you know, I can feed with this tractor pretty much everything that I need to. So what I figured as well is we would then, if I switch back to the contracting farm, we would lease another tractor for that. What I was thinking is, let's just have one more check in the sales check. Nothing has come in. No. This would be a good buy, but it's 300 horsepower, so we don't have the horsepower to run that. This might be a good buy. Only needs 180 horsepower. But I'm not going to pull the trigger on that. The reason that I'm not is currently there were lots of contracts available. That's confusing. I hope they haven't all been done. There were lots of seeding contracts and some weeding contracts available. I'll sort that. I'll sort that. I guess if there's a lot of fields that are just planted and growing, so okay, maybe there aren't lots of contracts at the moment. That might change how things go. We will see. But anyway, what I was thinking of getting, because it's, you know, again, it should be a useful utility tractor, and it looks cool, and it is cool, is a little Fendt 7810. I thought I was gonna, yeah, I'm gonna go for the big engine. So it's got a TW25 engine in, 152 horsepower. I was looking back at the first video I made on this series, and this was the tractor that I wanted to get, but I got the Fiat instead. So we're going to go for standard configuration. We are going to go for some Michelin tires. Get a beacon on there. We're going to go for a straight exhaust. Everything else, we're going to get a heavy fat boy front weight. And what I envisage, we could get a front loader for this as well. Should we get a front loader for this? When we'll get to the point where we're going to buy this probably fairly quickly, so we could change that at that point. I figure this is going to be useful for fertilizing, weeding, maybe a bit of carting with 150 horsepower. So we're going to lease that. It's going to cost £560 a month and £1,000 an hour. So it's not too bad. So that's that one. Do like the Ford. What I think I'm going to do is, I wonder if I'm very new to multiplayer. So if I join, I'm in Maypole Farm already. That's okay. So if I pick up the first spreader and send that up as well, because I don't think we're going to need it for a bit. So yeah, those contracts all vanishing has kind of thrown me because I've got better contracts and lazy farmers on, so it shouldn't have. But oh well. DS Agri, send that one off as well. So there goes that tractor. I'm trying to think what else would be useful on there. We've got a plough up there already. The grass working kit will use the stuff that we've got here at this farm. I think we're going to change that to butterfly mowers, probably. Yeah, I'm not really too sure. So I think I am going to hand back to past future me. But before I work out where we're going to go next with this video, I did want to just put in a repair point up at the DS Agri. So what I've not done is switch farms. Let's do that quickly, and then we can put in a repair point up here. Because, for example, the Fiat is desperately in need of a repair. The other one that I want to put in, I'm not sure if I can or not, or if it will work, is the transfer ownership point. What I wondered is if I could fit that in this shed, or is there a way of, if I do it on the entrance without really affecting anything, that would be kind of cool. This is on Mod Hub, and what it lets you do is, as it says in the description, transfer ownership between farms. So let's put that in. And then if I switch back to Maypole Farm and jump in the Fiat, we'll see if we can transfer ownership of these two fine bits of equipment across to DS Agri. So if I and then transfer and transfer, there we go. And now I can't get in it. I think the Ford is on its way up still as well. Yeah, it's nearly here, so I'll wait for the Ford to arrive. I'll transfer that over, and then we'll see. There we go. Yeah, I was doing these transfers through XML edits, but it feels like it might be easier, particularly if we've got to swap a lot of kit between, and this can be done with the game live, obviously. So just going to make life a little bit easier. Need to get a thumbnail at some point as well, right? Because it's a multiplayer game, I don't have ProShop installed. A little bit annoying, but the tractor not in the box as well. There we go. And then if I maybe detach that, hopefully, because it's leased, I can't transfer it because it's leased. I'll do that anyway separately. I'll do that in the XML. So we now swap farms again. My plan is to make this much slicker once we've done, in future videos. But just for this one, I'm showing some of the behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, I guess I'll be back at some point with something that we use to finish this video off. And I am back, and we need to sell some milk. We've got a half decent amount, and to be honest, I could do with the cash, and I wanted to give the Favorite a run as well. It's a nice tractor. I really like the way it's set up. They've done really cool things with the gearing, and it's quite slow to get moving. 7.5 grand for that milk. Another nearly complete tank full as well. But yeah, they've done some really nice things with the gearing, and it's quite slow to get going, but once it builds momentum up, it's a nice fast tractor. I really like it. It's like it's yeah, this is obviously just a nice way that they've set the gearing up, and it's very cool. So I'm going to sell this plot of land. I actually regret doing that because I've come up with a plan for something a bit different that I want to do. So I'll probably talk about that in the next video. Yeah, because basically the plan now, and I may have spoken about this earlier, I actually recorded the bulk of this video about 4 days ago, or it feels like about 4 days ago. So yeah, my plan now in future is so that I can make best use of the multiplayer aspect of this, and because I love playing this save, it's currently my favorite save. What we're going to do is I'm going to go to 2 videos a week on this, probably on a Monday and a Thursday is my plan. Because that means I'll be able to have hopefully the multiplayer server up over the weekend, and then maybe for a day or so in the week, depending on how many contracts and stuff are available and how patrons are beasting through them. So yeah, that's the plan. Obviously, with most things that I say like that on here, plans never survive first contact, but you know, that's what I want to try and do. So I'm really enjoying playing this. It's my favorite save. I'm loving this map, and yeah. I'm just going to put a bit of straw in the cow sheds. I cannot get the Warzy to connect. So one of the things, having donated the Fendt to the contracting business, I really miss having 2 loader tractors. I don't know if the big Fendt can take a loader. Or the Deutz once we've... yeah, maybe the Deutz. We're going to have to make a payment on that and buy that soon, and then we would be able to customize it. And I wonder if we could put a loader on that. But it's mainly for straw blowing. It's really nice having 2 loader tractors. Long term, I'd love to get a telehandler on here. The only one that I'm considering at the moment, until maybe actually it becomes more appropriate as we move through, is the Merlot. I haven't seen any other. So there's a great demand for straw at the moment, and we've got more than I think we need. So we're going to take a trailer load of straw bales up to the sell point. Yeah, it's the only one that I think is kind of age appropriate that I'm comfortable using at the moment. I know, I think Mark's done a convert of the old JCB Loadall, but I think that's an unofficial convert. I know you think, I don't know if you watch these videos, Mark. I think you do a lot of really cool converts, but I'm kind of funny about the mods that I use, and I think it's an unofficial convert, so it's not one that I'm planning to use. But if anyone's got any links for any other old telehandlers, that would be cool. I had thought about using the old Volvo wheel loader on here because, you know, it's old and that suits this save, but it's really big. I thought it was the smaller old Volvo wheel loader, and maybe the one in the DLC is. I've used one of them. I used one of them when I was testing some stuff, and it was much bigger than I thought, and not really appropriate to the yard. But I think there's going to become a time where having a telehandler would be useful. I'm sure the contracting side would benefit from that. So maybe I might keep my eye out to in the sale. I've really benefited from the sales. Obviously the Fendt, but some other kit as well is coming up in sales and it's proving to be really good. You'll see that in a bit later in this video. So and in the next video, I've already recorded the next video, so I haven't done the commentary for it yet, but yeah, we're really taking advantage of the used equipment on here. I think longer term we'll be in a position where we can buy a whole load of new stuff. I have this image in my head off in the future, where we're rocking up at the dealer and buying a fleet of new tractors. I see it occasionally on like farming news articles and stuff where a big contracting firms just brought their new fleet of matching tractors, and I could just see getting based on the size of people being involved in it at the moment and the kind of the scale that I'm running this at, going out and buying like 3 brand new John Deere 6Rs or something in the future, that kind of thing. Yeah, and that sadly makes me really happy thinking about that in the future. So that as we move through the decades, when we hit August, we'll have all of the 1990s available. At the moment, I'm only doing up to the early 90s, and that was just because there wasn't much 80s kit about. There's a lot of cool tractors that I think are going to open up as well, so it might be that we have to cycle through things a bit more often. The Fendt we've got is pretty high hours already. We've brought it with a lot of hours on it. It was a good price. It's kind of the trade that you make, but definitely seeing with the Fendt 180 that where that's hit sort of about 50 hours, it's needing a lot of repair. So I tend to think, I don't know if it's right, like an hour of farm sim time is about 10 hours of vehicle time. There's some stuff that I've read before on the interwebs, and everything on the interwebs is right. So that would put it at about 500 hours, which doesn't seem like a lot for a tractor. Maybe it's more than that. Don't know. Yeah, so I'm just double checking that the bale sell point is the bale sell point that I think it is, which is the one up here by the animal dealer. So it's not that far a drive, which is nice. So just gets us a chance to have a run out in the Fendt, really, again. And actually, this is about the first time that I'm hearing the sound for it, because, as I've said many times, I play without sound on, and it sounds really nice. Most of the time when I play without sound on it, it's just because I'm sitting with family, and having tractor noises in the background is not great when you're doing stuff. So, but also sometimes because of, as I've said many times, I'm quite sensitive to sound. I just don't want it on. But this sounds nice. This does sound like this is a nice sounding tractor. So yeah, I'm curious what we're going to get for this. It's 148,000 litres. Just a lot of straw on the trailer. It's a lot of straw. It was 18 bales, I think, on there. So that's not bad. Not bad. Nearly 9 grand. So 500 pounds a bale. I'll take that. Yet more milk to sell. So I think I emptied both. I wanted to skip ahead again, and so I emptied both cattle sheds to save it building up, and rather than having to do 2 trips, I think we might be on 1 trip a day, maybe something like that. And we're now heading up to DS Agri because there's some stuff in the sales that I figure will be useful in the future for getting contracts done. So if we pull in here, we will do some shopping. And to be honest, they're also going to be useful on the main farm, because anything that that I buy for the contracting business, I'm going to use on the main farm as well. We may end up with duplicates in the future, but you know they are, as I've said a few times, they are essentially the same farm to me. So I'm going to transfer a load of cash back across to the other farm so we can buy some stuffs, because there is some good stuffs in the sale. So yeah, it's a very different way of doing things for me. So far, I haven't forgotten to join it as a multiplayer game, even when I'm playing privately. So in the sales, we have a Ford. It's the smaller Ford, so it doesn't quite go to the right horsepower that we want, but the Cocklinger Rebel Classic 600T. So 6-meter cultivator that needs 180 horsepower. So the Fiat 180 should be able to run it, and the big fence should be able to run it. So when the cultivating contracts kick in, we've got something to cultivate with. You know, one of the so the server was up over the weekend, and one of the things that I've been or asked, and I think I've spoken about it before, but I don't know if I have, the all the contracting that the guys are doing, they're doing with kit that we own or kit that we lease ourselves. We're not borrowing the equipment that comes with the contract. That does have the downside that all of the cool contracting setups that I did for earlier on here are a bit wasted now, but it's just how I want to play it at the moment, you know. That might change in the future, but for now, that's what we're doing. There's the Lizard AC2, so a copy of the FERT spreader that I have over on the main farm. So we're going to get one of those as well. So they've got their own FERT spreader, and that means we have access to two. So if there's lots of fertilizing contracts, then two people can be running them. You know, get through jobs quicker, and at that kind of price, it would be crazy not to, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a really good budget fertilizer spreader. You'll have seen me use it loads if you've watched this. Thankfully, it's quite robust as well. It's quite robust. It'll handle the odd knock. You know, it's a pretty solid bit of kit. So yeah. And I think next we're going to pick up a plough as well. So the sales were really kind to us on this. There's the Volvo. There's another baler. There's a bag lifter. Both of those were quite tempting, got to admit. The big John Deere. But actually it's 170 horsepower. It seems quite low for a 4.7 meter plough. It's essentially a disc, you know, of some sort. I'm buying this because A, it's going to be good for ploughing contracts, and B, I thought it'd be really good for turning in the grass that we have to mow, rather than using the big plough, because none of the fields actually need ploughing. But I prefer a heavier piece of fieldwork equipment when I'm, you know, turning under a grass crop, and I thought this would be a nice compromise. And again, we can have a run out with the big fent to do that. So that's why I went for this. It'll make ploughing contracts nicer for others doing them if they don't like the kind of more traditional style plough as well. So yeah, and it's one of the ploughs that I think I was running the bigger version of this on some of the ploughing contracts. So in fact, I think I remember running one of them. So yeah, don't remember if I pick up any more at this point. We've got the maize plus grassland subsoil there. I don't think we really need one of those. There's the Volvo. That's actually the smaller one, I think, that's from the Platinum pack, rather than the one that came as a bonus for picking up the Season 2 pass, which is bigger. Yeah, that's not the one that I used. That might be a better size, but I'll have to have a play with it outside of the game. I think my concern with it was lift height, because I would want it for bale stacking, for loading a feed wagon in the future. Yeah, but it does come with the 2,000 litre bucket, which is quite nice. 2,400 litres. We've only got a 1,000 litre bucket on the farm because our loader tractor is quite small. Can you see how long I was pondering this as an option? It's only got 28 hours on it as well. It's not bad. And this was just like things that I was saying in the lease to own video, that if you can pick something up with a really good discount, even if you've got one on lease to own, unless you're at the point where we are with the Deutz, where we've already spent a fairly decent portion, probably you're better to sell and pick up the used one, unless the hours are really high. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Like the video, comments, questions, suggestions below, and I will see you next time.